Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tattooing Network.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
John Archiquette.
Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
Matt Turner.
I'm not afraid.
And Joshua Gray.
You will be.
What's going on, Outriders? John, Josh, and Matt coming to you on a special late night edition of the Legion Outriders podcast.
Are we not releasing at our normal time this week?
Oh, no, we are, but we're recording it later at night.
Special to us, anyways.
Here's a peek behind the curtain of the Wizard of Oz here.
John has been drunk for hours now.
Hours. Years. Literally
Cumulative hangover.
Years. Now, we're doing this a little bit early due to some prior commitments. So
it's Nevada Day this Friday. That means that Josh gets his kids a day early, which means he can't come down to record as normal.
The heck is Nevada Day?
It's the day that Nevada was admitted to the Great Union of the United States of America.
And they don't recognize Columbus Day because
he's a vile
of all the horrible
things.
Or something.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yes.
But I don't know if Nevada warrants its own special day.
Well, until we find something better,
Well, okay. Well, we're not going to talk about obscure state history, guys. We're actually going to talk about Star Wars stuff.
I mean,
Dyson Martini Day. How about that?
Yeah, I was going to say the only other option is like Hookers and Blow Day, which is every day for me. But
Nevada also boasts a rich tradition of mining. Nevada.
No, Nevada.
Yeah, you're right.
It's your home. Home means Nevada.
None of us are actually from Nevada.
I know, right?
Like most people,
which is
from
the most
this
Nevada
state.
thing ever.
It is,
by the way.
Yeah. That's why everybody drives so horribly, is because there's no consistency on. They all drive horrible from where they're from, and then they bring it here.
These are all facts.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to talk about Star Wars today. We got some.
Actually, before we get into some Star Wars stuff,
what's up? What do we got?
Here's some fun stuff about Nevada. No, one of Nevada's most recent sons that has come out here is actually having a release of a documentary he directed this week.
No, not this week. Next week.
Next week? Oh,
next week.
Okay. But I still think it's very exciting that Mr. Josh Gray has a piece that he did for PBS on kind of the history and one of the, well, tell us a little bit about it. He spent like half an hour telling me about this documentary.
Not a half an hour.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
But it was really cool stuff, and I'm very excited for him.
Basically, it's a documentary on the Lou Rouveau Center for Brain Health, which is the partner with the Cleveland Clinic, and they're one of the leading neurodegenerative brain disease research facilities in the world. Centered here in Nevada, and it's a really deeply personal story about how it came to be.
Yeah.
The guy who's the president, whose dad's name is on the side of the board, this guy by the name of Larry Rouveau. He's the owner of one of the largest beverage distributors in the state of Nevada, which, if you're familiar with what goes on in Nevada,
we do some beverages here, I think.
Makes him a pretty influential person. So yeah, it's all about the story of his upbringing. Their family owned an Italian restaurant here in the town that was one of the first It places in Las Vegas back in the 50s.
Oh man, I love that era. Of
the Rat Pack,
Nevada
the
history,
old Vegas.
Yeah.
And when it closed, it was one of those things that was kind of the end. It was like literally closing the book on old Vegas when this place closed in the 80s. So it's a story about how they came to Vegas, because they were also not from here. They were from upstate New York.
So much of the mob was back then.
Yeah, right.
Is that not covered in your?
No.
Okay.
No.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So it's basically about how they came to Nevada, started their restaurant. His dad developed Alzheimer's. And then their journey to find him treatment,
because there wasn't any place out here.
Yeah, because Nevada's not really, we're something like 49th in the nation in doctors per capita. This was the first place. This clinic was the first place in Nevada that was even geared towards brain research of any kind, brain health of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
If you had dementia or ALS or Alzheimer's, you just went to a general doc and just kind of dealt with it.
Up until like 5 years ago, they just dug a hole in the desert and buried you there if you got sick.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah, that's how it worked.
Poor Vinny, he got stupid.
Luca Brasi sleeps with fishes. So the documentary is basically about his upbringing, his relationship with his dad, the restaurant, their journey to kind of find out, because they had to go all over the country, and they had the resources to do that, to go all over the country and find out what was wrong with his dad, because nobody here in Vegas could figure it out. And then how they accidentally became in the brain research business. So it's a
really cool piece of Vegas history,
it
though,
is.
And doing a really important job today. So, what's the name of it?
It's called The Power of Love. And
really?
Yeah. There is no
Lewis?
Huey Lewis.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't get the rights to that.
You probably get it at a discount these days.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. But
he needs time to create.
So it's going to air on PBS Local here, and it'll be online.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to pitch it to PBS National, and hopefully it'll air.
I'm sure
nationwide.
it'll be a slam dunk. Some of the stuff they've
But yeah,
done.
so hour-long documentary, yay me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. That's really awesome.
Thanks.
I'm excited
Hey,
for
you're
you.
the only person who's ever had a actual film premiere of the three of us, so
Well,
mad props.
Right.
well, there was yours that you did.
Oh, we
but
don't-
you
we don't
tried
talk
to
about that.
send-
Pornhub
oh,
doesn't count
gotcha.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, $20 is $20, right?
Hey, you know what?
But anyways, Star Wars news.
Yeah, so Star Wars news. Looks like we got a little bit. What are we looking at here,
Little
Matt?
episode 9 stuff that I was able to find. Basically, the Mandalorian set got a visit from George Lucas himself. Came down to visit Mr. Filoni and Mr. Favreau, and kind of
Did he come to see the White Slavers? Was that what he was doing there?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was
pretty
number
much.
one on his checklist thing that he was going to do. Dude, that was a thing. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was.
it?
He's like, oh, now I know what it's like when your kids get kidnapped by white slavers. Oh, stop,
crazy
George.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then another one, Oscar Isaac was in an interview basically saying that Episode 9 has a much looser and relaxed feel than the previous films, probably because this is the end of the trilogy for them. So, and they've worked together before, but kind of a
Does he
nice
dance
insight.
in this one?
Could be, who knows?
Oscar Isaac needs to dance in this one.
Loose and relaxed, not foot loose and relaxed.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know, man.
be careful
Dude
what
can
you wish
dance.
for. Regardless of whether or not he can dance, it's should he dance. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't
we're
want
looking
I don't
at
want a Spider-Man 3
3. Yeah,
situation
thank
I was,
going
gonna,
on.
I was gonna say, if he just does like the little disco ditty from Ex Machina, that would be great.
Oh yeah, he was really good. In
Yeah,
that.
he was.
He was really unstable in that. Holy cow!
He was really good in a most violent year.
Yeah,
too. I
well,
just
yeah, he was.
watched
That was a good movie.
He's just a
that was a
dang
really
good actor.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also in the Resistance, Star Wars Resistance,
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
for,
good
for an
him.
episode.
But he's gonna be in episode 9, so I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Yeah. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Kind of quiet news for Star Wars this week. Oh, other than
Did George
hey,
Lucas
emplacements
say
are coming
anything?
out.
I mean, he visited. Did he say anything? Was he
It
just like?
wasn't in
He just
What,
walked
him
and nodded.
arriving?
He looked at things and nodded like Kim Jong Un.
yeah.
George Lucas looks
Yeah,
at thing.tumblr.com. Yes.
Kill that
I can't
man.
wait. Yeah. Or did he just walk in to see like all of the money he could be still making?
So, do you like Darth Vader?
Are there any Gungans in it?
Because I did a movie about him as a little kid. To use some Patton Oswalt there.
All right, so we have actual other news besides just George Lucas, walking around and accusing things.
Josh and I got a game in.
Yeah.
That is breaking news.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
it's
right?
been a couple months.
When was the last time
Yeah.
you two played against each
I
other?
would say it's probably been about 2 months.
Yeah, been about
but,
2 months. Yeah.
And I remember now why we don't.
Because I kicked his ass.
Yeah,
Aw.
well,
Thoroughly.
Way to ruin the tease there, buddy.
Yeah, I kind of buried the lead there.
No, it was a shellacking of epic proportions, but a lot of fun, and definitely shaped what we're going to be talking about today.
You didn't seem like you were having fun while you
Oh.
were playing the game.
So, it's because you're a horrible person to play against. I don't. No,
Why?
I'm just
What?
kidding. I'm just
Whoa,
kidding.
whoa,
No.
whoa.
I'm just kidding.
Wait
Wait a
I
minute.
was
Josh
getting
isn't
very
a gracious
dispirited.
winner?
So, I mean, when he kicked my models over and jumped on the table to do his little Pee Wee Herman tequila dance in victory, it was a little much. I
He
gotta
didn't bust
say.
out some Fortnite dance moves.
Yeah. Oh, I flossed all over it. Yeah. So here's how you
It's
know
from
it just
that
wasn't
fork
going to
knife
be.
game.
Here's how you know it just wasn't going to be Matt's game.
No, it was.
I had a full stormtrooper squad, DLT, right, attacking one of his rebel trooper squads.
Well, let's go
Take
lay out
take-
the table real quick.
Can I-
I think we got to tell
Fine.
the situation because
Sure,
the setup
we'll-
is a
we'll
big part
build
of
the
this
setup.
story. So we were doing clear conditions. No, minefield. That's right.
Minefield, recover the supplies.
Yep.
Long March,
Yes.
which I have played like of all of the games that I played in this game, like 90% of them have been Long March.
Yeah,
I
take that,
have
Tabletop
no idea how it
Simulator.
happens.
Why?
I don't know.
It just happens.
It just
It
happens
does.
that way.
I want to say like 40% of my games have probably been Long March.
I play like one Battle Lines game. This is all like Disarray, Major Offensive, or Long March.
Like generally, my opponent and I will just look at each other before the game starts, and we see Long March get flipped over. It's like, get rid of that now. Let's just make a gentleman's agreement and go away.
But what was your list?
So my list was Veers with Esteemed and the command one.
Inspiring Presence?
Inspiring Presence. Thank you. God, it's late. Sorry.
Yeah. And he's been drunk for days.
Yeah, and then I had 4 Stormtrooper units with the Extra Dude and the DLT, Snowtroopers, Impacts, Extra Dude, and the Flamethrower.
Stupid snow troopers. Stupid
Long
snow
March.
troopers.
Long March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't-
Flamethrower, but
don't worry.
just
Don't
Long
worry.
Just
March.
wait.
Just
wait.
don't worry. Yeah.
Just wait. And then I had 2 bikes because I love bikes. I don't know why anybody knocks on bikes. They're great.
Nobody knocks on bikes.
I knock
Bikes
on
are
bikes
amazing.
Yeah.
regularly. I hate
You'd be
bikes.
surprised out there,
Well,
Matt.
because you don't play them.
I don't
There's,
like them.
there's a lot of folks out there that are just really down
If you
on
played
bikes.
Empire, would you play bikes?
No, I have played Empire once, and I didn't play bikes. I made a point to not play bikes.
They take a lot of nuance to use effectively.
I don't do nuance.
I know. And then I had two strike teams with snipers.
Saw that in your video.
So that was my list. Came in at 790, I think it was, as far as points.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
that was
And then the sniper teams had HQ uplink. So
Yeah, that's
That's-
pretty cool, actually.
yeah,
I think that,
and that
helped a
actually
lot.
helped me out.
Yeah, quite a bit.
That first turn.
So I had Han and Leia. Well, Han with his duck and cover and improvised orders, which I needed to use more. I kept forgetting about.
Right.
Leia, I think, just had the Pass the Guardian one, esteemed leader.
Yeah.
Then I had a snowspeeder with Wedge and a HQ uplink. No. Well, we'll talk about it more later.
Yeah.
Once again, I did not play it right. 2 units of snipers with nothing, and that was a mistake. Well, deploying it
The
was a mistake.
snipers wasn't
Yes,
a mistake.
yeah,
How
yeah.
you deployed them
Right.
was the Emperor has made a grievous error, and the time for my attack has come.
I was playing the rebels.
Yeah, I know. But
Okay.
I'm just
Your
wedging
grievous
the
error.
movie line in, okay?
Oh, okay,
Stop.
Fine. And then fleet troopers, full upgrades. Rebel troopers with the extra man, and I think that was about it. Am I missing anybody?
Nope, that was it.
I think that was pretty much it. But I on the ball, trying to play the scenario all the way through, and my goal number 1 was remove his enemy snipers. So I deployed mine very aggressively, so they had line of sight to everybody. And then I got caught on a whim on like, oh, if I do Leia's 3-pip thing, then I can just chain straight into more sniper teams and, do these things.
However, first turn I deployed my sniper teams were 1. So I was a blue player, and I waited my snipers to deploy them. They were my last 2
Yeah, we
units.
both had 10
Yeah.
deployments.
So
Okay.
you had to put 1 sniper team on the board before I placed my last sniper team. So the first sniper team I deployed behind a building, out of line of sight of everything.
With both guys?
With both guys.
Okay.
Right up against the back side of a building. So turn 1, once it was safe, once his snipers had gone,
Yeah.
I HQ uplinked them both.
Yeah.
So I could have a little bit of a little bit of control
Which
over
is
when
nice
they
because
activate.
if you need to pull from the bag,
Right.
you don't have to worry about
Yeah,
no.
So and I didn't first turn I had my bikes literally back in both corners of the board, all the way back.
Yeah.
So they couldn't be reached.
So they couldn't be reached
Yeah.
except by enemy snipers, which weren't going to be a problem because of how I did
he
my
planned
deployment.
better.
I had, and then once I saw where he put 1 sniper team with my last deployment, I put my sniper team someplace where
I mean, after he wiped all the drool from his
Right.
mouth. Oh, God. Oh, okay.
somewhere where I knew they would have clear line of sight to both dudes,
Okay.
basically. And then Matt put his other sniper team in the clear on top of a building, and for the love of God, I don't know why.
Yeah. I figured I was going to lose one, but I thought I'd be able to take out both of yours and preserve one of mine by the end of it, but it didn't shake out that way.
So, I was blue player, and I figured it was a calculated risk to roll out just the normal 2-pip card.
Okay.
Out of the push, is that?
Yeah.
So I rolled push, thinking that, okay, if he coordinated bombardment, Leia didn't have line of sight to anybody. So I didn't think that, because the way the deployment works, she was behind a building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So turn 1, I knew right there that coordinated bombardment wasn't going to be a thing. And I figured it was worth the risk that if he change of plans me on the first turn to not have Veers do the bombardment, well, you just change the plans, a normal 2-pip card, here comes Veers' bombardment card. So I figured my odds were pretty good at getting the first shot off one way or the other.
Did he do it?
Oh, yeah. I got it.
Yeah.
First activation, first turn, I had the initiative, HQ uplink, activated the sniper, aim and fire, 2 blacks, no saves, sniper team dead. That was first activation. He's already down.
That was dumb. I should not have done that.
And being able to kick a leg out from his sniper teams, and it basically his entire
set
strategy.
the tone for the entire afternoon.
Yeah, that pretty much.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Why so grim? Oh, let me tell you. Not only is he kicking my butt, but I'm realizing how dumb I am in all glorious Technicolor right now.
But is that the first time you've played with the Rebel Sniper team?
I've played a single sniper team before. This is my first time doing a double sniper.
And it was my first time playing 2 snipers.
And
also,
I should have been more cautious with them. I don't know what I was thinking, that they would somehow, they got special sniper moves that they'll be able to, defend. But turns out no. They just die.
And the sniper team that shot at him, he could only really shoot at one dude in that, counter fire.
Yeah.
So
he shot he's full of crap.
Yeah, he shot at that guy, but he couldn't. The other guy was immune because he had no line of sight to him. So that dude, when you're
kill the guy with the sniper rifle. Well, guess what? He promotes and gets the sniper
picks
rifle.
up the sniper rifle, and continued to kind of rain fire into everything else.
Yeah.
The other thing for me that was important in the game was not committing my bikes too early.
Nope.
And what ended up happening is he flew his T-47 up my right side of the long side of the board.
Okay.
Up a channel, and he was beak to beak with my bikes. And his strategy. Well, what was your strategy with the T-47?
So I was gonna use the T-47 to go hunting for snipers, and
he did.
I got one of the teams. The other one, you saw what I was doing and
put
them. So that nice little domed building that you have with the circle, he was on one side. He ran around to the other, and it was on the far side of the board. So I would have to fly all the way past all of his guys to get around to get a line of sight on. They're like, okay, well, let's try to blow up some bikes instead, I guess.
Now, the third to last unit that I placed on the board was the snow troopers. And I waited to deploy them absolutely last because I wanted to see where he was going to put that T-47.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their entire job was to hunt that T-47.
Because you put impact
because
grenades
they
on
had
them?
impacts
Yes.
on
Oh,
them.
okay.
So not only
Always forget
so he was beak to beak with the bikes, but he focused on the sniper teams. So my bikes flew past his T-47 and engaged his troops in the rear. One bike was on the far right edge of the board, long edge. The other bike was on the far left edge of the board, and they both just trucked up the sides, and they waited. The first time I just did a one move, and I'm like, I'm good. I'll stand by and dodge.
Yeah.
To keep them parked in the
didn't
backfield.
stand by because you can't, but
Or not stand by,
Yeah.
but I aim and whatever. I did something so they didn't shoot.
Right.
Or they only moved the compulsory move and they stayed right there.
Yeah.
So by the time the troops started engaging, then I jetted the bikes up and then flew past his T-47 on the right side. On the left side, it was completely wide open. Everything focused on the right side of the long edge of the board.
Okay.
So not only are you doing long march, you're doing long march where everything is on half of the long way of the board.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah.
But basically what that allowed me to do, and really this is where I think the game was kind of decided, was he never got a chance to get Han and Leia up into the fight because the bikes had gotten into the backfield and had engaged them in the back.
Yeah.
So they had to stay in the back and deal with the bikes. Otherwise, the bikes turn 4 were just going to both turn in and just wreck everything from behind.
Yeah, bikes kill heroes. So.
Yeah, they do. Bikes are good.
Yeah.
What also didn't help Matt, and I think this was like turn 3, he was kind of, we both had 2 crates, right? There's 5 crates on the board. He's trucking, and the way the board got laid out, that last crate was literally in the middle of an alley.
Okay.
And there was cover on both ends, but whoever got to the end of the alley first could just camp and come at me, bro. So he took a unit of, it was the fleet troopers, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, scattergun.
So
it's
yeah,
the only
at this
thing
point,
that scares me. Scattergun's got to
yeah.
go, right?
Okay, yeah.
I was trying to push with all of my troops to hopefully have one unit left that can grab the objective and start booking it out of there. Unfortunately, he had dice, so didn't work. And I really misplayed. What I should have done was preserved my distraction from Han.
Okay.
And used it that turn that I was pushing all in to, leave those units available. So sure, one of the other 2 gets decimated, maybe even Han himself. Great. But it's going to make sure I get that third objective. And you can kill the rest of the guys on the table. If I had kept that, then that's still game for me. But, so I played it a little too early.
Trucking the fleet troopers up the center of the board, I had a full unit of stormtroopers with the DLT behind cover, aim and fire, because they didn't have to move, 5 crits, a surge, and a blank.
Oh, geez.
Spend the reroll, another surge.
Yeah, felt good.
Yeah.
Where did these guys?
I have no
learn
idea
how to shoot.
Yeah.
Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise.
Okay, where the heck did they get those weapons from?
I have no idea.
Those are not stormtrooper
But,
weapons.
It was ridiculous.
and at that point,
I was
Matt's
like,
just
my
kinda
leather
like,
vests.
F
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I was just like, push it. Everybody, go grab the
Yep,
objective.
yep.
That's the only way we're going to survive.
The funniest thing about the entire game is, he still had a chance because recover the supplies is one of those things that, turn 6, if you can make a mad dash in, grab that last crate.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you've got 2 dudes on the thing.
Sure.
Just as he's getting ready to push Han and Leia up, he had 1 unit leader all the way in the backfield with a crate.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, cool. The turn before he goes to activate Leia and start charging her up, I sniped the dude, so he dropped the crate.
Yeah.
And she had to go back to pick the crate up. Yeah.
You sniped
So,
her?
yeah.
And I'm like, no, not her.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but just sniping like the one dude. He's like, I got the crate.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
He's like, who are you going to shoot? You shooting Leia? I'm like, no, I'm shooting that one guy back there with the crate.
So, I was hoping you didn't notice him.
Boom! Headshot.
And then I had 1 unit leader up by the contested objective at the middle of the board.
Yeah.
And if I had gotten a second activation, he had a suppression on him. If I had gotten a second activation, I might have had a chance to get out of there. But I had to spend my first only action to grab it, and then I'm just standing there in the middle of the street like,
And
all
what
right,
was,
this is game.
And he actually did a good job of hemming me in with the mines because I screwed up placing the first mine, and I kind of placed it equidistant to where he had set down 2 objective tokens, right?
Okay.
And what that allowed him to do was to put a mine right next to one of my objective tokens. If I had put it right next to one of them, it would have range 2. Because the mine can't be placed within range 2 of another mine. It would have been too close.
Okay.
Any farther would have been within range 1 of the deployment zone, so he wouldn't have been able to do it. So
But everything since that was downhill.
Yeah. Well, what do you do? What do you do when you play Minefield? Right. You send 1 unit and you suicide them into the mine, detonate the mine, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Eat the mine.
Yours didn't blow up for like
No,
2.
it didn't.
Yeah.
So I take my suicide squad and I move it to within range 1 on the first move. Roll the dice, didn't blow up. Okay. Second move.
Bravo team, go!
Yeah, second move. Move it up. Roll the dice. Didn't blow up. Now, with the second move, I was able to move my leader into base contact with the crate.
Okay.
And the mines only go off on moves, not actions.
Sure.
So I'm like, well, I guess I'm staying here for the rest of the game.
So they just sat there?
They sat there for the rest of the game. They were behind a building, so But like when the T-47 came zipping up the right side of the board, they were close to him. He gave me a broadside shot, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll shoot that guy." Yeah.
It was fine. It was all fine until the snow troopers realized that they're actually Flak 88s and
basically
decided to just chuck thermal detonators into this whoop, straight up into the sky.
Like I said,
now
hate that.
Now
that is my least favorite thing about the game now.
You did help me out a little bit with that.
I mean, you're welcome.
Because you moved your T-47, and instead of flying it into the backfield and engaging people in the back and trying to come up the middle, you full pivoted it right by the snow troopers.
Yeah, because I want to take those bikes out if I could before they got into my backfield.
But
like
you left the
anyway,
T-47 sitting there in the teeth of the snow troopers, so they just thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have taken E11 fire all day. I don't really care. It'll most likely survive.
Right.
It's the... we've got low flying cattle coming by, so let's throw grenades at it scenario that does my head in. But
I think there is a rule change needed there, though. It's immune to blast.
Kind of so. If you got a grenade launcher, cool, whatever. Let's say you're really good at lobbing those things up there, but just like Oral Hershiser's on the mound, and here comes the.
But here's the thing that gets me about that: the snow speeder, I think, should be immune to them, just because of the fact that it has fly too.
Yeah, so it should be 12 inches off the board.
It should be 12 inches off the board,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
Or you could, I don't think you should be able to hit them with a range 1 thrown weapon for a unit that can go up to range 2. See the stormtroopers pull back on the stick.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, right.
How do you fly a plane? You pull back on the stick and the houses get smaller. You push forward on the stick and the houses get bigger. Pull back on the stick and the snow troopers get smaller. But if you keep pulling back on the stick, the snow troopers get bigger again.
So are you?
Wow, I need to be writing this down.
Right.
Are you advocating that you make impact grenades ineffective against weapons with, or
grenades with anything
repulsor?
like
not repulsor, but fly 2. If you have
Okay.
the ability to go higher,
physically bigger
than the
than range
range
1,
that you can throw the weapon, then yes. Now I understand that involves a vertical element to the targeting.
So if I'm standing in a building and my Ewoks are...
Yeah.
The true line of sight doesn't. It's base to base. It's not.
Yeah.
But I think throwing grenades at something flying by at something. I think it's like 800 miles an hour.
Yeah, like a million
kind
miles.
of dumb, right?
Okay.
But anyways, regardless, Josh played an awesome game. It was a lot of fun despite my dour demeanor. And not upset at anything you did, mostly just hating myself for making the easy choices for you to
Well, welcome to
destroy
the I
me.
hate myself club.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I've been a member of it for a while.
Oh, cool.
Hating me, not hating you. I don't hate you.
Oh.
I like you.
Yeah.
I like you.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and we'll take a look at unit battlefield roles, and we'll announce our Patreon winners for the month of October.
Tune in every Wednesday to Radio Free Tatooine, a Star Wars podcast that's better than some and worse than others. Take a trip to a water cooler far, far away as we bring some casual, fun conversation into the Star Wars podcasting community. Hosted by me, Sean, my sister Amy, and John. Radio Free Tatooine. We may not know what we're talking about, but we sure know how to record it. For more, visit RadioFreeTatooine.com, a proud member of the Radio Free Tatooine Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tatooine Network, recorded on location at Power 9 Games. Whether you're looking for the latest releases from Legion, X-Wing, 40K, Magic, or any of our other extensive inventory of board and card games, head to power9games.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER10 to get 10% off your order. Plus, shipping is free on orders over $100. Now, back to the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders. John, Josh, and Matt. We're going to talk a little bit about battlefield roles for some of the units in Star Wars Legion. Matt, what exactly do you mean by battlefield roles?
This is something that when Josh and I went to lunch after my ill-fated game and his victorious march down the center field, that we now have, we've kind of hit that sweet spot in the game where we've got units that have a really distinct battlefield role from other ones. So troops pretty much, right?
Sure.
They're good for grabbing objectives. They've got wounds, things like that. So the snipers is a thing that me and Josh got onto it early in. I was trying to take out his snipers early. He was trying to take out mine. But basically, there's these units now that they have more of an impact on the battlefield than just the dice that they're rolling at people. So he was able to keep his snipers out on me and then, projecting his will basically on how much I was having to turtle up in the back and I didn't have as good cover. But there's other units do this kind of thing. Area denial units. We talked about a little bit with LJ. I think you said Vader is one of your favorites there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you can throw him, put a saber throw on him, stick in the middle near an objective, and people will probably stay away.
Right.
Sure. I mean, just like you were talking about before, I mean, snowtroopers seem like one of the biggest area denial units.
Man.
Because,
I just need to steer clear of those guys.
Yeah, between having a flamethrower and then having impact grenades, I mean, they're deadly at range 1.
Fleet troopers are kind of the same way.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, oh, you're gonna throw 10 white and 2 red dice at me.
Yeah.
You die first.
Yeah.
But it also forces your opponent into targeting things. You know,
absolutely.
You put an airspeeder on the board, which is, for better or for worse, considered not a
soft target,
not a great, not an efficient use of the points,
right?
Specifically to get rid of sniper teams.
Yeah, and that was my early thing. Is I want this thing. It's fast. It'll almost definitely kill 2 guys in paper armor.
Oh yeah, sure.
If he can get a hold of them.
Right.
Now finding a way to do that while is surviving, so he can do that job is kind of the trick.
Well, and you got a little in that respect. You got a little bit screwed by a long march because that narrows the board significantly.
Let me just funnel all my guys in the range of your dudes. Yeah.
At this point, if I could put 3 Long March cards in my deck, I would.
I would never want to play you, ever.
I've gotten really good at playing Long March.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
But, I haven't seen, you talk about specific battlefield roles, I haven't seen a game yet where each player has put sniper units on the field and it doesn't turn into enemy at the gates.
Yeah.
Where it's basically a sniper duel until there's sniper, one side has a sniper left, and then it's just indiscriminate raining fire on whatever they can get their grubby little hands on.
Yeah.
But
so it's forcing you to turtle up. I think early on ATSTs with the mortar launchers on there definitely had people scrambling from cover to cover, trying to break line of sight. Yeah.
Sure. Especially if you had hung somebody out there with no leadership support. Not as big of a deal now because you have 3 commanders that you can efficiently put on the table to shepherd all of your guys around, even if you do end up splitting your forces.
Yeah.
Well, ATSTs had a number of different battlefield roles, though, too. I mean, they had the mortar launchers, but I think that I was most afraid of their ability to use the grenade, the blast within
the concussion launcher.
Concussion launcher within range 2. I mean, that was pretty much.
So did that dictate where you would move your troopers, trying to avoid staying out of range of those?
Because I never really made a point of trying to take down ATSTs. I just tried to avoid them. However,
unless you got Luke, I don't think many people do.
But
the
thing
is, the rebels
Vader,
still have even. I mean, you have impact grenades, but the rebels have a distinct lack of anti-armor ability. There's not a lot of things out there that have the ability to deal with armor.
But they were easier to avoid because they cost so many points that I wasn't. Half their army was already sucked into that. So I was like,
Vader.
Yeah, and Vader. Yeah. So I didn't have to worry about it as much. But with snipers, they are cheap enough and still having that board area deniability that really makes them effective.
Yeah, I mean, because especially with snipers, you can reach out and touch somebody anywhere on the board, literally.
Yeah. Can I see you? Guess what? Yeah, you're getting some
bullets. Oh, you stuck your head out. Guess what?
Yeah.
Here's 2 damage.
Pop.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, unless your team gets wiped out in the first turn because you didn't deploy them properly, more than likely you're going to get your point backs on that.
Yeah.
Usually you're going to get your points back.
I'm definitely going to try to use like the 1.4 FD for when I'm playing Rebels as kind of and probably with the suppression, the barrage generator for the suppression tokens as like an area denial. See if I can drop it near an objective and play a few games and see if that changes the way how people want to engage with me.
Stick it on top of a, it's got 4 health. It's got some staying power. Stick it maybe put it where you out in the open on top of a building so it can see everything. You can reach out to range 4.
Yeah, that's
if you could put it on the front edge, I don't know.
Have you gotten to play with the scout mines yet?
No, I haven't. I want to.
I've played against them.
I really want to.
And that did a really good job of changing where I was funneling my troops. So I would definitely categorize.
And that's pretty much
those
why
guys.
I want to do it, just to see what kind of board control it gives you.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Coming back from X-wing, there were units on there that would drop bombs, and one pilot in particular that would let you hold, because usually bombs either. They sit on the board and wait for somebody to drive over them, or they detonate at the end of your turn and just affect everybody in an area. But being able to litter the field with mines and bombs and stuff, and then control where your opponent goes, or they've got to go eat the bomb, was a huge endgame tool. So I'm really anxious to kind of get a couple of bombers on the field, and but that changes how your list plays, because what you're doing, especially now that both sides have snipers, what you're doing by doing that is you're giving up the ability to counter battery snipers, like unless your opponent does something silly where you can get at them with something long range or something fast like bikes.
Okay.
You're talking about because you're removing the special or the operative role?
Well, what you're doing is you're removing
special troops,
you're removing the snipers.
Yeah.
So if I've got 2 bombers and you've got 2 snipers, I've got no ability to effectively counter battery your snipers.
Okay.
Unless I get bikes, which
I think bikes would be fantastic at that.
If they live long enough to get there. There's a lot.
They've got a smaller profile. They're a little lower to the ground. You can hide them a little bit better, I think, than the air speeders.
But they don't have armor, so if God forbid your snipers can see them, they're gonna eliminate the speeder dodge, the speeder cover.
The cover one.
Because they've got sharpshooter 1. So you've really got to be careful with them, and you got to make sure that
don't get shot out twice.
Yeah. And you've also got to be careful that you don't fly them too close to any other enemy troops, and they get tar pitted or just shot down by something else before they even get there.
Then again, there's something to be said for so now you're dedicating your snipers to trying to take out my bikes that are moving up towards them.
Right.
And maybe that frees up the rest of my guys to go and play objective like they want to.
Yeah.
So you're presenting a threat in that manner to change how you're going to, because either I deal with these guys now, this is something you were saying earlier, or they're going to, take these guys off the table.
Yeah.
Just an interesting question. Do you think that snipers should have a longer standby option?
What do you mean?
Until their next activation or something like that?
No, I just mean a longer range.
Longer range.
Yeah.
Could be. Could be.
But how do you measure that?
I think they're pretty good where they're at
you
right
can stand by out to range 5? I mean...
I don't know. I would think if they don't... If they
beyond range 2, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, like the emplacement.
No, because they're already a potent enough thing. And plus with HQ uplink, you should be able to dictate when they shoot. If you've got HQ uplink and you're not using it to your fullest advantage to give yourself the ability to control when they activate, then why should I give you a range for standby? So if you threw it into the bag and, oh no, I pulled my snipers first and they don't have anything to shoot at, well, fly better.
By the way, mad props for use of Veers with Imperial Discipline. Allowed you to ready all those guys. And I was like,
same
man.
Thing,
Oh, okay.
Because
here come all the uplinks.
I HQ uplinked first turn. Second turn, I wanted to stick the bikes in a little bit, so I evasive maneuvered, and thankfully, since we were playing Long March, Veers could command board edge to board edge, basically, because he had the inspiring presence or the command range card.
Range 4.
Yeah, range 4 command card. Yeah. So, and then third turn, I didn't need the snipers to necessarily have that kind of activation control on turn 2 because I had 2 teams of snipers and he only had 1 guy left on his sniper team by that point because the other sniper team got up to the top of the building and shot at his other sniper team at the very end of the round, essentially. So I mean, he only had one sniper left to my 2 full-up sniper teams. So at that point, I was like, oh, okay, I can handle this. But then, turn 3, ran Imperial Discipline, or issued an order to both of them, which allowed me to retap the HQ uplink.
Okay.
That's
smart, yeah.
Yeah.
It worked out real good.
Yeah. And then at the end of the game, last turn, he changed of plans as me, but I had just thrown like a BS card out there.
He knew I was going to do it.
Yeah, I knew. It's like turn
me.
5. He still hasn't done it. He knows I still have
the maximum firepower.
The maximum firepower out there. So I just threw out like standing orders, and he changed of plans. And I'm like, okay, well, here's your bombardment now. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, it's fine. It was fun. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
So do you think HQ uplink is an auto take for snipers?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I do.
Since you kicked my ass, I will say I will definitely try it with your configuration next time I play snipers.
Just to give you that first turn.
10 points feels like a lot, though.
It's worth it.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
It's worth it. I mean, look at some of the other cards that are 10 points that you're putting on there that you maybe, use once in a game. Yeah. You know, if you can get your sniper teams to live, you're using that card. If you're Imperials, you can use it 3-4 times a game if you do it right.
I've always thought that activation and order token control is probably one of the most important things of the game.
I would pay 20 points to be able to control when my sniper teams win.
Yeah,
like it's to the point where it's like I don't even like having a diverse list of having operatives, having leaders, having all of the different groups. Right. I don't like having that because I don't like the diversity in tokens.
Yeah,
I would rather just have troops, a support, and commander token, and that's it.
Right. Well, first turn.
It helps with your order activation consistency for sure. To do it like that.
And then the two I threw the generic 2-pip card. So I issued both of the orders to the bikes, and then I HQ uplinked the 2 sniper teams. So all I had left at that point was Veers and Troopers.
Yeah. Anything left in the bag?
All that was in my bag was Veers and Troopers.
Yeah.
So
which was funny because you were fishing for Veers pretty hard that one turn.
But that gave me something more random than Troopers and Veers and both bikes and a sniper team in there, or something like that. So I think the activation control that it gives you is invaluable. Well worth the 20 points. Easy.
Now, getting back to your battlefield roles conversation, Matt. We've seen
the segment. Yes.
Yeah. So we've seen a lot of the range stuff now, especially with the turret weapons coming out. We've seen kind of like the peak of the ranged weapon aspect of this game.
Yeah, table length is a long range for those snipers and the mortar launchers, but we're seeing extended range with the laser cannon, which is one of the few that the Rebels get access to. I think it's just the ATRT with the laser cannon upgrade, and now this 1.4.
But we haven't seen a whole lot yet from the melee side of things.
No.
So that's one battlefield role that's coming up soon now.
So I was actually thinking about during our game, we talked about that alley fight. Would that have been different if I had been able to go in with some melee troops and maybe, jump over the wall and assault his guys in hand-to-hand, thus freeing up... Okay, cool. Let's imagine a scenario where that could have been effective, where I could have moved my guys up, engaged them, and then had somebody kind of creep in the back, grab the injective, and fade away. Go forward to die, my Wookiee legions, but
well, that's the thing. It's
die knowing that you have saved the rebellion this day.
If there's one thing that's going to maybe counterbalance snipers a little bit, it would be something that can run up the field pretty quickly and engage them in hand-to-hand combat.
And I think that's where you're going to see Royal Guards with new ways to motivate them.
Yeah.
3 speed 2 moves and then into a melee. Ouch.
I wonder if people are going to be looking for more rapid
Yeah.
reinforcements to deal with sniper teams and stuff
Probably,
like that.
yeah. I mean, the immobility of both the E-Web and the tower just seems like something that screams for rapid reinforcements.
Yeah.
For sure.
To me, that,
assuming that's how it's ruled that they're played, but...
Well, I think they already...
Did they?
Yeah.
I know Tabletop had said that they were.
No,
doing
I
that.
think.
Is that official? Okay, cool.
I thought there was like an FAQ that was released
troopers.
shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, because if you can deep strike
they are
them turn
troopers.
2 and be like, surprise, there's an FD tower right behind you.
Ka-chunk.
Yeah,
Look,
right?
if the
Ha-ha.
Blood Angels could deep strike a Land Raider back in 5th edition, I'm pretty sure that the Satellite of Love just dropping out of space. It's not that
in
hard
the
to
not
believe.
too distant future.
That's not that far fetched.
Yeah. Cool.
Satellite of Love.
Oh,
That's what I'm calling the 1.4 FD. Like, come on, get out of here. Like, you know how I feel about like Dewey Decimal System numbers assigned to weapons and vehicles. I don't care.
Don't you know the Dewey Decimal System?
Conan the Librarian. A UHF reference.
Yeah,
Give me
buddy.
back my mop.
It was Weird Al's birthday just the other day. He's like damn near 60 now. Well, he's
That
59,
movie is a
but
classic.
It is really time to drink from
The fire hose.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've talked about the Battlefield rules enough. We have some Patreon winners. So
Who are our lucky winners for this week? It's Mark,
Did I
actually.
win? Did I win?
Real
Did I
quick,
win?
thank you everybody that has taken a part to support the show and joining us on Patreon. And if you haven't joined yet on Disco server, please do. There should be instructions in the email. If you have any questions, though, you can always message the Facebook page. But this month we have the $25 gift card from Power 9 Games, who is going to Joseph Callingzod. So
What?
Yeah, I know.
Joe!
Congrats, Joe. Well
Nepotism.
done, sir.
You're my boy, Joe.
And then the painted model will be going to Ed Martinez. So, Ed, I'll be reaching out to you on Patreon. So, if you get a message, we'll figure out what you want to get painted up, and John will get cracking on that.
I will, unless you want Josh's paint scheme, in which I will pass it. I'll pass it
If
on
you want
to
the black and
Josh.
purple, whatever. It doesn't
No,
matter.
I'm just
Yeah.
messing. I'll
Horribly
happily.
painted black and purple, by
Yeah.
the way.
Your stuff looks.
He's just going to prime it black and then dip it in a purple halfway down on the paint pot and then call it good. That's what you do, right? That's what I do. Okay.
No.
But
I wish somebody would have you paint them barricades. That'd be cool.
Hey, you know what, Ed? If you want barricades, I will happily paint you barricades.
Man, look at that. Well, now you got to have barricades. But, congratulations, guys, and thanks again for your support. Anything else? Make sure and check out Josh's PBS documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to PM us privately and want to see a link to that, I guess I can do that. It doesn't
I'm
air.
looking forward to it.
It doesn't air for another week and a half, but
But we'll give you a sneak preview.
Yeah,
'cause we
sneak
love you.
preview. 3D printing adventure.
Oh,
Like
new
printing
updates?
No, well, I've
You sent a picture of the Y-wing. That thing's
yeah,
huge.
yeah, printing a
that's-
Y-wing and just those parts. So the parts that I've printed so far is like the cockpit piece, the cockpit wedge,
Yeah.
the neck back to the main body, and then the 2 engine nacelles. This thing is huge. It took like 38 hours
The
for
Y-wing
those
Enterprise.
pieces to print. I mean, a Y-wing is a real world, quote unquote, 77 feet long. So this thing is going to be,
That is your terrain.
big.
There you go. Play around the Y-wing.
right?
guys.
Yeah, the Y-wing
Play
in and
around
of
the
itself
Y-wing,
is
kids.
probably a quarter of the board. Have fun storming the Y-wing.
No, that'd be cool. I mean, you can make like a hangar type battlefield. Like you said, put
Right.
some oil cans
Yeah.
and whatever around it.
Can you imagine key positioning a 18-inch model?
What you do
On the field?
is we'll build a scenario around it. We'll go abduct an orphan and instruct him to stay in that cockpit. You don't move.
Why were there kid-size helmet and goggles in the cockpit?
The Nabooians, as they're called, are known to have very slight frames, including chronically misshapen heads that are small, probably because...
Or there's a
Yeah.
ugly known or unknown fact that Naboo had a child army.
Yeah. Wow.
Joseph Kony,
Yeah.
2012. Never forget.
Beasts of No Planet. Is that what this is? Gotcha.
All right, guys. On that note, we're gonna get out of here. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tatooine Network.
Only now, at the end, do you understand?
For more from the Outriders, make sure you like us on Twitter @Legion Outriders, subscribe to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Legion Outriders, and make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Thanks for listening.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Radio Free Tatooine.